Welcome back. As far we know that if we stop the EC2 instance, the data on the EBS volumes persist. If we start the EC2 instance, the data is restored on the EC2 instance. However, if we terminate an EC2 instance, then by default the root device volume also gets terminated. Now Amazon has introduced a new EC2 hibernation features which when enable the hibernation, it saves the content from the instance memory, that is RAM, to your Amazon EBS root volume. This leads to a faster boot up time for your instances. AWS persists the instances Amazon EBS root volume and any attached Amazon EBS data volumes. When an instance is started again, your RAM contents are reloaded and the processes that previously were running on the instances are resumed. Your Amazon EBS volume is restored to its previous state, like when opening a computer that had been put to sleep. However, in order for the EC2 instance to be enabled for hibernation, you need to keep in mind the following prerequisites for using the hibernation feature. EC2 Hibernate instance root volumes must have encryption enabled to ensure the security of the content stored at EBS. Hibernation is not supported with all of the instance types, but it is supported with following instance types: C3, C4, C5, M3, M4, M5, R3, R4, R5. Instance RAM size should be less than 150 GB. AMI supported: Amazon Linux to AMI, Amazon Linux AMI, Ubuntu, and Windows. EC2 instance Hibernate must be backed by EBS volumes. Instance stored are not supported. EBS root volume size should be able to accommodate RAM contents along with other data from OS and applications. Hibernation is not supported on the spot instance types, while it is supported on the on-demand and reserved instance types. Use cases for hibernation: hibernation saves efforts in setting up the environment or applications all over again and saves time by reducing the long startup time taken by applications. Using Hibernate, you can maintain a fleet of pre-warmed instances that can get to a productive state faster without modifying your existing applications. A hibernated instance is not charged for when it is in stop state. However, the instance is charged for while it is in stopping state or while the contents are being migrated from the RAM to the EBS volumes. Limitation on the EC2 instance enabled for hibernation. You cannot increase or decrease the size of hibernated instance. Cannot enable snapshot or AMIs from instance in hibernation state. If an EC2 instance is enabled for auto-scaling group or used by Amazon ECS, then you cannot hibernate that instance. An EC2 instance cannot be kept hibernated for a period of more than 60 days. To keep the instance for longer than 60 days, you must start a hibernated instance, stop the instance, and then start it. To hibernate an instance that was launched using your own AMI, you must first configure your AMI to support hibernation. So let's do it now by using the EC2 hibernation features. We will first launch an instance and again we will choose here Amazon Linux Store and select it to the next step, and here again we will use t2.micro to remain within the free tier as it is free for 12 months, so we'll go with this. Next, to configure the instance details to enable the hibernation, we just need to scroll down on the shutdown behavior, and you can see here is stop hibernate behavior, and we just need to enable hibernation here as an additional stop behavior. And here we can see a warning message which says that when we enable hibernation, there is space allocated on the root volume to store the instance memory RAM. So we need to make sure that the root volume is large enough to store the RAM contents and accommodate your expected uses. To use the hibernation, the root volume must be encrypted EBS volume. Now click to add storage, and there we are. Yes, here we can see a message which says we need to also encrypt the root volume. In terms of size, here the 8 gigabytes is going to be enough, and from here we can go for encrypt the root volume with a default key, that is AWS EBS. Alright, now we will click on add tags. Without adding any tags, we'll go for configure security group. Here we need to assign a security group. For our instance, we'll go for an existing security group, and that is Linux security group. Now we'll go for review and launch, then launch, and here we have to provide a key pair which we have already won, and we'll go with that for now. Then we'll go to launch the instance. Here we have launched it successfully. right? Go to instance. Right now it is pending. We'll give it some time to show the instance state running. Just reload the browser and see it is running now. Okay, as we have enabled hibernation as a specific stop behavior, but how do we come to know that the hibernation works? Actually, once you initiate hibernation on EC2, it goes into the stopping state. The contents from the RAM are moved to the EBS root volumes. Processes running are freeze, and then a normal shutdown on the EC2 instance is performed. Once the shutdown is complete, the instance moved into the stop state. While the instance is in stop state, the EBS volume remains attached to the EC2 along with the RAM content stored on EC2. Now, when a hibernated instance is brought up, it boots up and OS reads the contents of the RAM from EBS volume, and it resumes the processes earlier frozen to their initial state. So let's connect to our instance using the EC2 instance connect, and I'm going to connect right now. Here we are connected to our instance using EC2 instance connect, and we will run here one command that is called uptime. The uptime command allows you to know for how long the instance has been turned on. So if you run uptime, it says that right now it has been up for 0 minutes. So we just need to wait till the uptime become 1 minute. It just tells us that how long has the instance been on since its last restart. So as we can see now, we do run the uptime command again, and yes, we are getting now 1 minute of uptime. It shows that the instance has been up for 1 minute. Up to here, all good. Great. And now we are going back to hibernate the instance. How to do this? We will go to instance state and then go for hibernate instance. It shows that when you hibernate your instance, the data on any instance store values is lost, and to confirm that you want to hibernate the instance, can go to choose the hibernate button as shown here. And this is going to make sure that all the data on the RAM is stored onto our EBS volume. Click on hibernate, and here we can see that it is stopping now, and we need to wait for it to be stopped. So our instance is now stopped as is hibernate mode. When the instance is stopped, the content from the RAM are moved to the EBS root volume. Processes running are freeze, and then a normal shutdown on the EC2 instance is performed. Actually, if it did not have hibernation enabled and then we stop the instance, then we start it again. After run the uptime command, it return again 0 minutes and then 1 minute or 2 minutes, since how much time the instance is up and running. Why it shows like this? Because we have effectively stopped and started the instance, but here as we have hibernated the instance and then started again, and we should be able to have the uptime start not at 0 but start at maybe 3 or 4 minutes. Now I'm going to start it again. Let's see what we get. Let's connect to the instance and run the uptime command again. And yes, we get up for 3 minutes because that was really quick. So the basic idea is that even though we have stopped the instance by hibernating it and restarting it from an operating system perspective, the instance was never stopped. Actually, it was hibernated, and therefore the uptime command gives 3 minutes because it has never been stopped from an operating system perspective. And here it is about the EC2 hibernation. Now we will go back to the instances and we'll terminate this as we don't need it anymore. Wait till it terminated successfully. Okay guys, I'm ending here now. See you on my next video. Till then, have a great day and bye bye.